unending strength, unwavering vision, fight to build on progress, create a nation self-reliant. We at JSW Steel are ready to partner this evolution, trying to upgrade to experiencing more with a stronger JSW Neo Steel 550D product to deliver excellence in quality with better strength of FE550D, less steel consumption, which gives 6 to 8% extra saving, higher value of elongation, giving more flexibility, low labor costs, faster construction, all this so that we can together build a nation that keeps evolving, keeps growing, building on the dreams of every Indian and setting milestones of progress for the world to follow.
Good evening, one and all. I, Omkar Bagdekar, welcome you all to the Connect webinar series by JSW Steel. We have a very special and eminent speaker for today's webinar who has been in our industry for more than 3 decades. I welcome Mr. P. Surya Prakash, founder and director of Satyavani Projects and Consultants. He is also a former president of Pre-Engineered Structure Society of India and have organized multiple workshops, conventions, and has guided multiple people on many projects. Kindly note, questions will be taken at the end of the webinar, and you can send your questions in the question and answer box, which you can see on your screens. Without further ado, I request Mr. Surya Prakash to take on the center stage. Thank you and welcome once again.
Good afternoon and thank you, Omkar, for good words about my introduction. And it's my privilege today to share some of the knowledge and thoughts about the very good topic that you have selected for the audience, particularly the engineers and practicing engineers. It's a in fact, it has been in my mind. There are many questions for me also regarding the use of higher grade rebars, which we have been using and we are trying to find solution. So that today I'm going to share whatever solutions we found for the use of higher grade rebars and what are the issues that we are facing and how the future this material is going to further go higher and higher in grades. So welcome you all participants. I'm very happy to share this presentation today and I hope it will be useful end of the day for you all. So higher grade rebar, the material of the future, is the topic of today's discussion, and my presentation overview is introduction briefly on the topic, and the masonry, concrete, steel, and RCC, how it has transformed the structural systems, and the reinforcement, primary topic of the day today, the rebar or reinforcement steel, and the grades of the reinforcement steel, how they have grown, starting from 250 about 3-4 decades back, and then we have Bureau of Indian Standards provisions for design and detailing, how we have to utilize these provisions in our design, and the ductility provisions. And now the seismic design is very important for all the structures in India. And so I'll be briefly touching upon these ductility provisions of IS 1893 and high-rise structures, tall buildings up to 250 meters as per IS 16700, and also ductility detailing as per IS 13920. So these are the topics. And also when we talk about the higher grade steel, the immediate questions that pop up in our mind are bond. What about bond for higher grade steel? Will it be okay to use same M20 grade concrete and still use higher grade steel, or should we increase the grade of concrete also? And similarly, the cover to reinforcement, will it have higher grade? Does it require any higher cover? These are all the questions. And how about corrosion when we go for higher grade of steel? And how about fire resistance? And then immediate thing when we talk about higher grade is mechanical splices. Can we use it? Couplers. And can we do the welding for the splice? And can we use the same development length, or should we calculate the different development length? Is there any increasing factor to increase the development length for higher grade steels because of the bond considerations? And also in my work while preparing for this presentation, I happened to find that the IS 456 provisions are at present, which is under revision now. Of course, it's undergoing revision, IS 456. But whatever we are having is not adequately covering the higher grade reinforcement, whether it is special publications SP24 or SP34 detailing provisions. All this needs definite upgradation. So I found that ACI 318 latest revision 2019 has got adequate provisions covering all the HS bars detailing and design provisions. So we must all as engineers refer to this ACI and also ASTM for testing. And I also briefly cover the FAQ answers actually for this weldability or welding, fire resistance, cover all these aspects. And future material, I'll be giving brief details about what we have to look for in this higher grade reinforcement. And high strength deformed bars in Indian market, what is the availability present in the current scenario? And then finally the case study, I'll be covering briefly about this JSW Steel, who are sponsoring this webinar today. So with this overview, let us get into the topic of the day, higher grade. So we are all connected with construction, either in planning or design or detailing or engineering or construction, maintenance, all these aspects. We are all aware how important it is. Full screen. 1 minute, please. I was told you're not getting full screen now. Are you getting now?
Yeah.
Yes, we are getting.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for the inconvenience. Good, you have told me in the beginning so that viewers, attendees are not inconvenienced. So construction is in construction, the role of reinforced concrete and steel reinforcement plays a very great role actually. So I see we are in this pandemic and lockdown period, we are seeing a lot of lectures on concrete. In fact, yeah, everybody thinks concrete is a complex material. So we need to understand more about concrete, and we see a lot of lectures on concrete. But even I have given many lectures on concrete, precast and all. Of course, steel I have given on pre-engineered building, but reinforcement as a material, specialized talk, this is the first time I'm talking about. And to my surprise, I found that there is a lot of things that we have to cover in this. So please be alert and aligned with me to get this information I'll be sharing today. So reinforced cement concrete is the most versatile material for the structural elements, and it is worldwide spread very uniformly, and it has widest applications actually. As we all know, concrete itself is the second most used material after water, and then concrete cannot go alone. It needs reinforcement actually, as we all know. So today we are seeing the grade of concrete going above M100, and we are seeing the grade of steel going above 600 even. So we have to be abreast with the information about the codal provision and design and detailing provisions, and what are the challenges in the design and construction and the quality control. So this is the brief introduction about our topic today. And close. Oh no, cancel. I'm sorry, I'm moving the, yeah, to be able to see. And okay, excuse me. Oh yeah, now it's good. So the requirement of deformations on steel rebar, sorry. So reinforcement bars in masonry construction is the first time it was used about 600 years back. So we can all feel confident that the concept of reinforcement per se is time tested. And during 18th century, rebar was used to form the carcass of Leaning Tower of Nevyank in Russia. The cast iron used for the rebar was of high quality, and there is no corrosion on the bars till date today. So that means more than 200 years. And Europe and North America developed reinforced concrete, proper concrete in 1850s. And we know the longest standing reinforced cement concrete high-rise building is about 113 years old now. So around mid-19th century, rebars used in producing modern reinforced concrete. And now we can see the business of reinforcement is about $250 billion. It's going to be by 2025. And now it is about $200 billion. And out of this 246 billion, you can see the Asia Pacific consumes the maximum reinforcement, or doing the maximum business. So we are all in the Asian region and Indian subcontinent, one of the fastest growing countries. And it is very important for all of us to be clear about these grades of this material and the quality of this material and using this material. So the structures, as we all know, we start with, it all started with masonry, which are structures we see about 2,000 years old, 5,000 years old in masonry. And then came concrete, and then came reinforced masonry, and then came steel structures. And today we are using reinforced concrete has become a very common thing, which is being used everywhere in rural, urban, developed areas and underdeveloped countries also. And next is the pre-stress, which has gone beyond reinforcement and composite materials. And now today we are talking about the high-grade materials, upgrading this reinforced cement concrete. Otherwise, we were only used to using M15 grade concrete and Fe415 for almost 2-3 decades. Now is the time we have to upgrade our materials, and also we have to upgrade our design data with these higher grade materials. So as let us just refresh our thoughts on this reinforcing material. As we all know, concrete is weak in tension and is to be reinforced properly with suitable material. And the purpose of providing reinforcement is to take up all the tensile stresses and increase the strength of concrete sections, and you prevent the propagation of cracks developed due to temperature and shrinkage. So we provide the reinforcement not only for the tensile stress, but also to restrict the crack propagation due to temperature and shrinkage stresses, and to make the sections thinner as compared to plain concrete sections. So these are all the reasons for reinforcing, and criteria is it should be having perfect bond with the concrete. That is the most important thing, as we all know. And steel reinforcement should develop the bond. Otherwise, because these two are different materials, we can't utilize the tensile capacity of the steel without this bond capacity. So that is one of the most important criteria. And next is it should be of high tensile strength, because we are trying to compensate the weakness of concrete in tension. And cost should be reasonable, because many people ask me, students particularly, why not aluminum, why not other metals which also have higher tensile capacity, even the carbon fiber. So the reasonable cost is the basis for steel is an optimum material satisfying all these requirements. The next most important point is coefficient of thermal expansion, which is reasonably in tune with the concrete, that of concrete, because when there is a temperature, if these two materials have different coefficient, then it loses its marriage or bond connect actually. So it should be workable. Next most important thing, we should be able to cut it, bend it, and join, because we should be able to fabricate. Concrete has become so popular only because of its flexibility. You know, same way rebar with steel also has become popular only because of its ease in cutting, bending, and joining. We are trying to further improve this as we move forward. We'll discuss all those points. And it should not react with other ingredients of concrete. That is mainly the corrosion, you know. Either it should not affect the concrete, and concrete, it should not be affected by the concrete. It should be free from the loose mill scales, loose rust that forms during manufacturing. So that is one of the important criteria. So that's how we have got this steel reinforcement or rebar or tar steel or tar carry and HSD bars now today. So Tarkari was a brand which I have used in 1990, which has come up with 550 grade those days itself. And I can't forget it, because I also want to share that experience with you, because many people at the time I completed my design and drawing with FE 450. And then my client came up with this Tarkari saying that it is having very high strength, almost 30% more strength compared to what I have already designed. So please modify the drawing. It was such a huge work, and you know, structural engineers are paid very paltry fee. And I thought that I must do it efficiently. So what I did is I applied 1.3 factor and reduced the steel reinforcement. In the process, I ignored certain detailing criteria and minimum percentage of steel criteria and issued the drawing. And also almost construction started. And so what I'm trying to say is, please don't use such methods. We have to inform the client, when you are saving the cost, you compensate us for the extra work also. So use of higher grade materials, if we have to do, convert the drawings, convert the designs, we have to spend again right from the scratch. That's what from the design table and detailing table. So we have to do the proper drawings again and use this HSD bars. So this is an experience I had 30 years back and still fresh in my mind. And today I'm talking about this higher grade material. And let us discuss about the proper provisions of all the aspects of design and detailing. So as we all know, the concrete has got a very weak in tension, almost negative, and we ignore the whatever tensile capacity it has, and then we reinforce the steel, and only we assume steel to take entire tension, and that's appropriate also, and it has been proved in many tests, and we can check all these aspects. And then the steel, how it comes out is by heat treatment. And steel production, we should have brief idea. I'm not going into all these details, but steel industry, as we all know, dictates the economy of the country. In fact, steel and cement constitute one of the major factors of GDP actually. And we all know about 30% of GDP goes into construction directly or indirectly. So it's very important for us to understand this economy of steel, and how the steel prices vary. We all know it's everyday price like gold. Why not actually? Steel is also a metal, and it is a very versatile material, and the price will be very high compared to any other metal, and consumption is also very high. So due to demand supply, there will be price variation we should keep in mind while deciding the brand or grade of these materials. And higher grade helps us in saving costs very drastically. So suitability of steel as reinforcement, we all know steel is very strong in compression, of course, with buckling and proper ties and all, and tension is another capacity, tension capacity. Almost we utilize 87% of its strength as per our design, and shear and torsion. And concrete develops very good bond with the steel, and steel is ductile. That's very important because it's never fails suddenly. Steel, it gives us time to understand the yielding, and we can save lives actually if at all it reaches to that. And more elongation of steel before failure will help us. That's why we insist on percentage elongation of the steel. And the steel bars can be cut, lifted, and welded easily with commonly available tools and sand machine. And it has longer life also, if provided corrosion, we protect it from the corrosion, or we use the corrosion resistance steel. And it is easily available because I have seen in the last 20 years, the steel production in India has grown threefold with companies like Jindal, Tata, and all these people, which otherwise was only public sector, mainly producing steel. So India now has grown from in 2000, in the new millennium, we have seen from 30 million tons of production capacity to 90 million tons. So that's a very fast growth actually, we can say, but still has to grow much further because we all know housing we have shortage, and office we have shortage, and it's going to transform a lot as we move forward. But the steel also has two things we have to take care, as I have been telling: corrosion and temperature, that is fire resistant. These two are very important. In fact, I have seen fire accident in one of the building where the whole steel is exposed. That means whole cover portion has fallen. So the adequate cover for fire resistance is very important to protect the steel, particularly when we use high grade steel reinforcements. So we have to take care of this. And we have in steel, as we move forward, I'll explain how we can improve the temperature resistance also. Rebar types, we have come across mild steel, we have come across properties of 7850 is what we take, but it can range between 7750 to 8050 or 8.05 ton per cubic meter unit weight. So this is the main property. And we also have these deformed steel bars, TMT bars, which is very popular now today, thermomechanically treated bars. And we also have high strength deformed bars. That is the actual technical word as per the code. And these are all the high strength deformed bars that we are using. And we have the HSD bars have got very good corrosion resistance also, and also the high strength and ductility. We'll examine all these properties. And we also use the rebars with the corrosion protection by using carbon steel rebar or European rebar or galvanized rebar, which has the protective coating against corrosion, and epoxy coated rebars, and stainless steel rebars also are coming. And finally, the glass fiber reinforced polymer rebars. So these are all the types of rebars. Just for academic interest, I'm sharing, not directly relevant to today, but because we are talking about corrosion, we need to think about this, and also need and practice of preheating, which is required for weldability actually, which I'll share more in detail as we move forward. And now the types of steel bars. As we all know, HYSD bars, they used to be twisted, and we used to have the ribs like this, and now we have the TMT and Thermax reinforcement bars, which will look like this. And this is the rebar that we normally look at. So there is a specification for this radius of this junction and the rib size for a proper bond, adequate bond and all, which we'll be discussing. So these are all the rebar. And then we use the rebar not in isolation, we all know. So there will always be a joint for the rebar, and or we'll be using it as a mesh, or we use it in the bent condition. So what are the issues? Why we should talk about higher grade at all? what are the issues in the current rebar that we are using, whether it is Fe415 or Fe500. Let us just refresh again. So we all know, as per SP34, we do the detailing, how to place the reinforcement, what is the spacing, what is the dia, and what is the minimum spacing, what is the maximum spacing, and what is the minimum steel percentage, and what is the maximum steel percentage. We have all these provisions covered in IS 456, and also the detailing requirements like development length, position of the splice, and bent bars, and how to bend these bars, all defined in SP34. I'm not going into detail, but just refreshing on these ideas. Then we have this ductile detailing as per IS 13920 for earthquake resistance, and we use these couplers also in the higher dia bars. So mechanical couplers, and sometimes we are forced to go for welding, and what kind of precautions we have to take for the welding, all this point. And then bar bending schedule, which is very important for optimizing or minimizing the wastage actually. So we must have proper bar bending schedules, and these are all the photographs. I'm just sharing some of the things, and we can see how complicated it is and how congested. The reinforcement is there to give strength to concrete, but we see in these structures as good as reinforcement occupying all the space of the concrete. So this kind of design, where we are asked to minimize the beam depth, minimize the beam width, or minimize the column size to increase the carpet area, all these aspects, and also we face a lot of problems in the junctions, beam and beam junction, beam and column junction. We keep seeing these problems, and how to maintain the cover of the column and how to maintain the cover of the beam, all these issues. And you can see this is the height of congestion actually. How concrete can go into this kind of joint. So it's very essential for us to think of reducing the steel. While the owner will not allow us to increase the size of column. If you increase the size of column, you can comfortably design with 1% steel. If we design with 4% steel, this is the situation, and 1% beam reinforcement, that kind of. So my guru also told me never go beyond 0.5% for the beam and beyond 2% for the column. Though code permits, it's only should be utilized in extraordinary circumstances. So you have the constraint of the member size and the percentage of reinforcement. So how do you solve this? Only solution is higher grade of the material. So these are all the pictures. Just I'm showing some of the project pictures where the reinforcement congestion. Here also you can see how the steel, concrete can go down. You might use flow mix, and you might use 12 mm aggregate only, and all that, but still it's a challenge to concrete and vibrate or compact in this kind of situations. So this is the slab reinforcement, not a very big challenge, but definitely the lesser reinforcement will help us in proper concreting and proper compaction actually. So these are all the reinforcement photographs, and we have these lift shafts and mainly the shear walls nowadays, what we are using for high-rise building. This is where the provisions of 16700 and the wall thickness mainly is controlled by the space requirements and the carpet area requirement. So we have to, it's a very useful if we go for higher grade of reinforcement in this kind of situation. So these are all the box culverts. I'm just using some of the examples like ramps where we use this reinforcement and all. And types of rebars, we all know mild steel almost is gone out of the usage, except in structural steel we are using for tie bars and all that. But otherwise, HYSD, now it is 2008 IS 1786. So, and deformed bars, now this has become order of the day. We are using high strength deformed bar. Now we have this FE500, now it's going to FE550 also. And TMT bars and corrosion resistant CRS steel, that is low carbon, and this kind of materials have become very common. And mild steel reinforcement, I'll not go into the very detail. So Fe 250, which we used to use for stirrups 30 years back, almost from last 20 years we stopped using this mild steel. But the mild steel is good for bending and all, and probably we can use it for where spacing governs. But I clarified in FAQs whether we can use the combination of HOSD and mild steel. No, you cannot use two different grades of steel as per the code within the same main reinforcement. So that we have to keep in mind while designing. So stress strain curves, very right from our college days, we are used to seeing this. And then high strength deformed bars, but they have certain defects, cold twisting and all that CTD bars. So that's why we have come up with improvement on this process actually. So high strength deformed bars or TMT bars or Denmax, or now the final high grade high strength deformed bars. HOSD bars itself had a lot of advantage over mild steel, because in the mild steel we had the major problems of bond, the development length. So with the HOSD bars, with the rib in the surface, we could improve the bond capacity by almost 15%. And now TMT bars have further improved, because in HOSD we had the problem of surface cracks and all. So now with this TMT method, we are able to get much better quality with high yield strength, better weldability, and ductility. That's most important, and a superior corrosion resistance. So these are all the important things. So we can see the rebar surface deformed to allow corrosion limited to the rib, and the channels are there, and these ribs also will help us for what you call bond resistance. And these pits for corrosion, we have to be very careful about measuring the corrosion resistance, and it will give the better bond. And these deformed bars, we have these ASTM standards. The latest is ASTM A706 and 615. So higher grade reinforcement we can use it for. And the physical characteristics of these rebars, we must check for thermal expansion coefficient for concrete and steel, which has to be same. And bendability, this is the very important aspect, because the anchorage we can get only with the bendability. So rebar has ribs that bind it mechanically to the concrete. The ribs, that mechanical bond resistance it will develop. It's not only by the chemical bond stress, and it can still be pulled out of concrete under high stresses. And so that to prevent such failure, there should be embedded with enough concrete and anchorage to be provided to the reinforcement. And common rebar is made with made of unfinished tempered steel, making it susceptible to rusting. That's why concrete cover with a pH value is normally 11, and it can be greater than 12 also, and avoiding the corrosion reaction. So too little concrete cover can compromise this guard through carbonation. So adequate cover as per the IS 456 provisions for durability criteria we have to maintain. So too much concrete cover also is bad actually, because the crack widths will increase with the cover beyond 50 mm and all that. So we have to follow strictly the provisions of IS 456, the durability criteria. And also it's not just enough you design with the adequate cover and leave it. We should also check the performance of this concrete with the tests on carbonation and the sulfate resistance. So that is all to protect the steel reinforcement. So this is the brand embossing. We should check the brand of the steel with the brand embossing, that is as per the code. And the corrosion resistance bars, we have this 0.18% carbon content as compared to 0.2% of HOSD. And elements chromium is also should be 1.5%. This is the CRS steel. And then we have this proof stress of 0.2%, and then yield stress of 0.2% of proof stress. And characteristic strength, we all know concrete characteristic strength Likewise, we should have the steel characteristic strength also. The tests as per the code we have to conduct for the quality, maintaining the quality. Normally I have not come across major problems in the steel characteristic strength unless it is very bad manufacturer. All reputed manufacturers, we get good strength. In my experience, I didn't come across bad steel so far. Only the brand we have to ensure. And then we have this comparison of various reinforcement. The only thing is this HSD bars of 550, as per code, it will be allowed the elongation. But if you are designing this for earthquake zones, seismic zone 2 or 3, we must insist on minimum 14 this percentage elongation. That's why you come across in the market 550D and all that. So this TMT bars over HYSD bars, I'm just comparing. So we have this surface defects in HYSD, which is eliminated by using TMT bars. And then the lot of flexibility and durability is found in TMT as compared to HYSD. And reduced consumption of steel also is reduced by 8 to 10, 11% because of its strength, higher strength. And TMT means I'm talking about 500, FE 500, as against 415, which was there. And now we are HSD bars, we are talking about 550 and 550D. So this is the chemical composition. We are all aware, if it is just 550, it is 0.3 carbon content. And if it is 550D, carbon content is reduced to improve the ductility. And then the sulfur and phosphorus also are reduced to increase the fire resistance and also the overall ductility. So these are all the guidance as per the IS provisions. And now let us talk about high strength deformed bars, which is ranging beyond 500. And now we are talking about 550. And in India also we have possibility of acquiring procuring 600 or 650 also customized. So we can procure if the project particular project requires this kind of high strength. And there are provisions, as I said, in ACI. So the provisions that are required for high strength rebars in the codal provision is the amendments are required for IS 456. As I said, it requires the improvements and the bond and the bendability of these high strength bars. We must check the bond capacity and the bendability. Cover provisions, do we require any modification in the cover? And what about the corrosion of these high strength bars? Because when we utilize such high strength, the diameter to be maintained as per the design is very important, and corrosion, we all know the effective diameter is going to reduce with corrosion. And ductility provisions, which is even if we use high strength bars, ductility is very important for this seismic resistance and elongation, percentage elongation and fire resistance. The splice, the development length, the regular bond splice or mechanical splice with mechanical couplers and welding. These are all the points let us cover today on these high strength bars. And we all know IS 1786 2008 includes the TMT bars with FE 550 and FE 550D and also FE 600. So we can check these 500S or 500D. Some people use seismic 500 and some people use 500D ductile. So these are all the special steel we can utilize as per the IS 1786. And the crack width calculations we have to do when we are using this higher grade reinforcement because of the higher stresses. Though we are increasing the strength of the steel, the concrete we might be using M25 or M20 or highest M40, M50 also. So it's always good to check the crack width as per our tensile stress in the rebars. And design aids, I have come across, in fact, when I asked my team, what is the disadvantage of using 550? They said we don't have this modification factor for the deflection check in the IS 456 modification factor. So I always say that please don't use this modification factor unless you calculate the, don't use the L by D ratio. You calculate the elastic deflection and calculate the long-term deflection, and then use this percentage for modification factor and try to give adequate adequate provision for this modification factor instead of bothering about this modification factor for this. And then stress strain curve for these high yield strength bars and HSD bars, IS 456 has given up to 500. And modification factor effect it will have on the stresses as well as the deflection criteria. So we all have to take care while using the high strength bars. And the mechanical properties, there is a high ratio of tensile strength to yield stress and very high percentage of elongation that is required for ductility, and TMT bars display superior quality actually for all these requirements. And bend test, we have to do the bend test because once we give the drawings and approve the grade of steel, it should not so happen it starts cracking while doing the bending for the fabrication. So it's very important to do the sampling, bending and rebend test as per the Cordal provisions. So we have to do all these bends and verify the performance of these bars. These are all the sample bend tests, and including 20 dia bars, we have to have this bend 4 dia for 550D and 5 dia for 600 and 550 5 dia. So for ductility, we must insist on 4 dia and 3 dia for 500D. And a rebend test, that is, in fact, we actually in the site, we fabricate the reinforcement, assemble it at the site, and at the site we require some change and we do the rebending. So there is a gap between the bending and rebending. So in the test also, it is recommended to give the time lapse between the bend and rebend when we are testing, so that it represents the realistic site condition. And if you are satisfied with the quality of the reinforcement rebar, so we can use it. And ductility is important in the TMT process itself, and low sulfur and phosphorus content improves the ductility also and fire resistance also. And bend radii must not be below the prescribed minimum sizes. So this is the very important point for bending of the rebar. That means when we detail, we should take care of this. And incorrect bending can severely affect the performance of steel. And be gradual and slow. That means while bending, there is a rate of bending actually. So that we must train the bar benders to follow that gradual bend, because otherwise the steel material will be wasted. They'll break and they will complain on the quality of the steel. And it should be preheated wherever required, and also suitable equipment should be used for this bending. And next is the most important. We have to have we have to differentiate between rusting, corrosion, and pitting. These three are different characters. So we must understand rusting means it is like atmospheric. When you are transporting after manufacturing, whatever the residual anion action, active anion that are there will be corrosion, rusting initiation. But that will be superficial. You can clean it and use it. It won't affect the diameter of the bar. But corrosion, which is deep into this, and pitting, which is sometimes the depth of the pitting is more than the diameter of the size you see. So it's very important. We must observe this pitting corrosion randomly, which occurs randomly and localized on the metal surface. So the depth of penetration is much greater than the diameter of the area. So we have to be very careful about this pitting corrosion. And the code provisions, what IS 456 and ACI, mechanical properties, they're all defined. I'm just showing for us to refer to these tables and important provisions. It's not my objective to explain all this, but you please refer to this for yield strength requirement and then percentage elongation requirements. You can see for 550 it is 12 percentage elongation requirement, and 550D it is 15, and 600 it is 12, and 600D it will be 15. So let us check the percentage elongation after testing of this and maximum mandrel diameter for the bend test, which I have shown before also. For even HSD bars, we have to maintain this. And these are the characteristic strength and minimum ultimate UTS and composition of the steel as per the Codal provisions. This also I have shared before, and mainly the carbon content, sulfate, and the phosphorus, and the combination of these two. We must test the steel for not only strength and not only for percentage elongation. We should also test for these contents or the manufacturer's report. And next is the development lengths that are given. You can see for the bars, for MS bars FY 250 and FY 415 they are given, and FY 500 they are given, but 550 it's not given. So we have to calculate using the formula, and while calculating using the formula, there are certain provisions that are missing in the present code. That's what I'm going to explain with the ACI. So we all know about this development lengths, anchorage zones, and lap splice and transition zones. So we have to have all keep in mind. So MS bars, we used to have the standard hook, and with the HYSD and HSD bars and TMT, we have this anchorage, end anchorage, hook and bend. And then these are all the different hook and bends that are required to be done. This is very important for maintaining the development length along with the anchorage. In fact, in some of the provision, we have come across you should not depend more than 50% on the bond. 50% you depend on the anchorage only. So it's very good to have eliminate the slippages, particularly in fatigue zones actually. So next is the minimum radius of bends that are given. They have to be maintained for all the grades of bars, and it is given only up to 500, and now we require to be modified beyond this. And now, so that's why I said let us look at the ACI 318 2019. This is the latest code which has incorporated high strength rebars. So use of grade 80, that is beyond 600. 80 is actually PSI, based on PSI, 8000 PSI, and so it is equivalent to 600 plus. And then we have this reinforcing steel grade 60 is 60,000 PSI, and commonly used grade in North America at present. And we now ACI talks up to 100,000 PSI, which can be up to 700. So this is the Codal provisions, ACI provisions, which we can adopt using ASTM for testing methods, and then we can use the bend tests also for these higher grades. We can conduct these bend tests as per these provisions. It will help us because IS 456 or IS 1786 we have up to 600 actually, but IS 456 we have limitation up to 500. So until it is revised, we can take support of this ACI and minimum percentage elongation and minimum ratio of actual tensile strength for minimum tensile strength of 100,000, we can use 1.1. So R by H affects the magnitude of strain localization. This is about the ribs. So here, this is the magnified view of the rebar. You can see the radius of the corner root thickness and then height of the rib. So these are also defined for these bars as per ASTM and ACI codes. So we can use this grade 80 reinforcement bars with the proper calculations and modification factors and reduction factors. So you can see They're all provided with high strength bars. So please refer to this ACI. And development and splice length, mainly the modification factors here, they are given. I'm sorry for the poor quality of this thing, but you can refer, it is available online also. The technical note, you can search for ACI 318 and you can refer to this modification factors calculation for calculation of the development length. So this is the most accurate development length considering all the factors for a higher grade. That means once you are using 550 and beyond, better use this formula for calculation of the development length. And the lap splice length, this is what I explained for grade 80, grade 100 bar. It is larger axial forces in the bar. And this is the splice for higher grade. You have these modification factors defined in ACI. And please refer to this. And ACI has also given the detailing provisions for the beams and ties, splitting reinforcement. Particularly when we use high strength bars, the bursting is also very high, is it not? Because the concrete cover we are not increasing. Cover is only mainly we are providing for the, so you cannot depend on the cover, and it's only the ties. So the ties detailing provision, we have to refer to this for particularly the columns. The column detailing, when it comes to splitting due to high grade, you have to follow this ties provisions and the spacing of these ties, all that, depending on the diameter of the bar and splice these anchors, mechanical anchors, all this. So this is the position of the splice, and this we have to follow 13920 anyway for the shear calculation and ductility provisions. And this is the ACI also gives all these provisions for high strength bars. When we use the high strength bar, we have to utilize this. And the strength reduction factors, this is the tension control limit. We all know that concrete has limitation on the tension, whereas we are increasing the tensile capacity of the bar. So whenever we have this tension control limit, so we have to have this strength reduction factor for this longitudinal tension reinforcement at nominal strength. And splice for higher strength in joints and limits on concrete compressive strength and special structural walls, that is shear walls. And there are many benefits, like we have improved concrete placement and consolidation because of less congestion, and we have the higher space because of we can reduce the sizes of the members, and lower placement costs because of the fewer number of bars and the smaller member sizes. So more usable space because of the smaller member sizes, and longitudinal bars combining grade 80 reinforcement and high strength concrete has the greatest impact. In fact, we have done it even 15 years back when we had the limitation on the column size, because grid is frozen by the client for facilitating parking in the basement. So we had to restrict the column size. So there we have to increase the grade of concrete and grade of steel. So strength reduction factors variation, you can refer to all this. So finally, I'm coming to frequently asked questions. Can rebars be of different grades together? So rebar of primary stress has to be of same grade. That means the main reinforcement, we have to maintain the same grade. So that means if you are using 550, better use 550. While ties and stirrups can be of lower grade. So you can use the ties or stirrups of different grade, doesn't matter if you want to optimize. And then can we use splice of development length? Yes, but as I said, please refer to ACI code and recalculate the development length using the reduction factors. Can we weld rebars? Yes, but the welding methods, which I'll explain as we move forward, have to be adopted. Can mechanical couplers be used? Yes, we have mechanical couplers for usage up to HSD 600 even. And should we increase the cover if we use higher grade steel? So as I explained, cover is not dependent on the grade of the steel. Cover is mainly for the exposure conditions and durability criteria. So maintain the cover as per the durability criteria. Will fire resistance decrease with higher grade? No. That's what I said. Fire resistance is governed by the composition, chemical properties of the rebar. So check the phosphorus and sulfur content in the rebar. So this is the, can rebar be welded? As I explained, it is available and we have to use the structural welding code AWS D1.4. A low alloy steel bar is weldable. And welding rebar, we can use the structural connection and we can design this welding. And non-weldable bars, depending on the chemical composition, we have to decide. We should not allow welding. And also heating is very important. When we weld, we have to do the preheating sometimes. And so we have to use this special welding, shielded metal arc welding, or gas metal arc welding, and all these methods we have to adopt. And be very careful, please don't allow welding without referring to the proper technical specification and quality tests on the weld, because our whole bond development or the stress transfer depends on this weld. So we have to be very careful while allowing welding. That's why I have given all this information on the welding actually. So selection of proper weld, preparation of metal, and the correct placement of the weld. And it is okay to weld the rebar, but you have to refer to proper technical specifications. And HSD bars in Indian market. So they're all produced in Indian market. We don't have to worry, but you have to check the quality as per the standards and follow the quality assurance plan for all the whatever bar you are specifying, 550 or 550D, and corrosion resistance or high strength corrosion resistance. All these bars you please specify and verify the quality requirements for these bars. So we have fortunately many companies that have the capacity of production beyond 1 million tons per annum. So we can get this steel everywhere in our country and at a uniform pricing strategies. And aging is another thing, and superior corrosion resistance of TMT bars, and then excellent bendability and workability across the board. They are available, but you can always, there are relative, you can always get the samples of different brands and check the comparative properties. The loss of ductility due to strain aging and due to strain imposed from the first bend may cause failure during rebending operations. So this we have to check, bend and rebend tests we have to conduct if they are not sufficiently ductile. So bend and rebend, this is very important. TMT bars, they withstand, they have the internal soundness and allied properties. And reduction ratios of bloom size, also they should have very high reduction ratios too. And also you can ask for the diameters intermediate like 18 and 22. We have after 16, 20 and 20, after 20, 25. If you can get these intermediate sizes, it will help you optimize on the design. So all these diameters and weldability, basically the low carbon content and equivalent TMT reinforcement bars ensure excellent weldability, even while using any of the welding processes such as arc welding and flash butt welding, glass shielded welding. So these are all the welding properties. And fatigue strength, whenever we are using this in machine foundations or infrastructure projects, we have to check, test for this fatigue strength. And 1786, these are the properties for TMT 611, 707 is the ultimate tensile strength and yield strength and percentage elongation. As I said, for 550, it is given very low. We have to insist for higher value from the manufacturer supplier. And international standards, if you compare, we have very good quality in India compared to international standards also. Just for comparison, I have given. So finally, we are here today because of JSW, and let us understand how JSW takes care of this 550D requirement. They have launched this product, NeoSteel JSW, which is also having all the comparable qualities which you can check So this is the JSW brochure which I'm showing. 550D design structure is capable to bear more load than 500D, obviously. And 8% less steel you can do, and less steel consumption and faster construction because of the lesser quantity of steel. If you are using 8% less steel, that means in a project where you have 1,000 tons of steel, that means 80 tons less you will be using. So lesser thing. So we have to do this value engineering, and more space with higher strength and low labor cost and increased earthquake protection because of the ductility, percentage elongation. And so this is the data furnished as per IS 1786 and NeoSteel. So you can see 14.5 is the percentage elongation as per 1786, and 16 is what is offered for 550D. And so this is the chemical composition. You can see all the characteristics are maintained well within the limits of this IS 1786 chemical. So this is what I wanted to share with you, and I thank JSW for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts and knowledge on this rebar. And to tell you today, this is the first time I'm talking about only rebar. We have been depending on this rebar design and all, but somehow we give so many lectures and attend so many lectures on concrete, but only rebar, very few. So I thank JSW especially for giving me this opportunity to sum up all the information that we use and deploy for use of this rebar. So any questions you have, somebody can help me picking up these questions. Then
Yes,
I
sir,
can
I have sent it on your WhatsApp number, the questions. There are lots of questions. You can take selectively 7 or 10 questions and we can answer them. There are a lot of questions that are coming in still.
Oh, thank you, Deepal, for deflection coefficient given in multiplied by 0.8 for FE500. What should be? Yeah, this is what I said. Vidyadhar Kakotkar. So the IS 456 needs to be modified for this 550 steel, and probably we can extrapolate from 415 to 500 and 500 to 550. Similar extrapolation can be done. On swing and sway in high-rise building, and what are the precautions to be taken care when you install subsequent finishes? Yeah, this is Sushil Kumar is asking me question regarding the swing and sway, that is deflection criteria as per the IS 456. We all know that for the limit on swing and sway is L by 250 or H by 500 is what is the criteria we have to verify for the finishes. The L by 350 and H by 500. And cost of couplers up to 16 dia couplers are economical actually. Below 16 dia, better go for welding or the conventional development length. Yeah, SP16 does not provide, so somebody has to take lead to develop these charts, and they'll be useful for M40 grade and FE550. What are the wind and seismic loads on tile and stone when installed on facade? In fact, these facade elements we have to design separately. The wind and seismic loads, we design the structure such that it won't transmit these stresses to the facade if you are well within the limits prescribed in the codal provision. Characteristic strength for shear design. So for shear design, we are not able to take advantage of high strength. Yeah, that's why I said you can use the low strength bars for shear design, stirrups and all. According to me, mostly the shear design, we are governed by the detailing requirements. So it's better, and ties particularly in the column. Open yard and found to have rust and deep pitting. So what is your suggestion? Yeah, we have to, in fact, the storage of rebar in yards also, we have the provisions to be maintained. In fact, if you have more pitting means that shows on the quality of the rebar, particularly if you are not procuring the steel from the integrated steel plant, you will have these problems. So better always prefer the integrated steel plant, then you will not have this kind of pitting problems. Can we use mechanical couplers in CRS bars? Yes, why not? Corrosion resistant steel, it is more appropriate actually. Codal provisions, I cannot tell you off the hat, but yes, we can refer to the relevant codes. What are the precautions, heating requirements for rebending of the bars? Yeah, heating requirement is there for rebending. I'll probably close this. How do we close?
Yeah, I'll close it.
Okay, okay. Screen sharing, you please close. Yeah. So, sir, if the strength of steel is increased simultaneously, what about the ductility of the rebar? Yeah, this ductility is a different requirement from the strength. So we have to use the percentage elongation for the ductility requirements actually. So I have two questions. Factor of safety on what we will fix. 1.5 dead load live load combination. Why not 1. Yeah, it's a very good question. Mahesh Alampati. In fact, this is not a factor of safety. It is a partial safety factor, 1.5. In fact, we are still on a deterministic, probabilistic approach actually. So, in fact, if you use the fuzzy modeling and you can do the uncertainty modeling using the neural network, you can reduce this partial safety factor, but it is still in the research stage. It is not still in the caudal provisions. Couplers can be used in beams. IRC has any references on this? We need many special lengths in bridges. Yes, that's right. You can order special lengths to the manufacturers actually. Can we use 2 brands of steel in one structure? That is the question. It can be used provided the strength and characteristics and quality are maintained. Why IS codes in India are not modifying continuously? Yeah, that's the thing. Actually, now I would say little better. We are getting a bit reduced period. I mean gap of period. So let us hope. In fact, we cannot blame on the government. Actually, it is for the industry to come together and insist on these caudal provisions. So let us all work together. How use of steel is impacting our environment and how it can be minimized. So yeah, I agree. Steel uses the level of this one. So we have to balance the usage of steel and other alternative materials for because safety is important. So we have to do it. Thank you, Rajagopalan sir. The PPT, if you can send me personal message or Facebook Messenger, I'll try to share with you. I cannot put it in the public domain. So thank you all. I think we have spent
Yes.
the event
I
time.
think it was an amazing session which we have, and really an insightful session. I will thank you, Surya Prakash sir, for sharing your time and knowledge with us during this session. I thanks audience once again for being there right from the start till the very end. You can see more updates and the upcoming webinar series on our social media handles. So do follow that for more updates. Thank you once again, sir, and thank you everyone for this webinar.
Okay. Okay. See you.